The year was 1315. Across Europe something terrifying happened. The rains never stopped. Then the temperature plunged. In a small English village called Thornwood, the first heavy snow arrived in early November. By December, the ground was buried under 3 feet of ice. Families woke to find their thatched roofs groaning under the weight. The cold was so fierce it cracked wooden tools and froze rivers solid. For the 120 souls in Thornwood, this wasn't just winter. It was a deadly siege. Picture this. A one-room cottage made of wattle and daub, sticks and mud. A small central hearth fire was the only source of warmth, but wood was running dangerously low. No coal yet, no central heating. People wore every piece of clothing they owned, even to sleep. Children huddled under thin wool blankets. At night, the temperature inside dropped so low that breath turned to frost on the walls. Yet they survived. How? The smartest trick was simple. Stay together. Entire families slept in one bed, parents and children pressed close like spoons. Livestock, precious cows and goats, were sometimes brought inside the cottage at night. Their body heat helped warm the humans, and the animals stayed alive too. In Thornwood, the Miller family shared their tiny home with their old ox. The smell was terrible, but the extra warmth kept the children from freezing. Villagers turned their homes into fortresses against the cold. They stuffed straw and rags into every crack in the walls. Extra thatch was piled on roofs. Heavy wool tapestries or animal skins hung over doorways to block drafts. Dirt floors were covered with thick layers of rushes and herbs that smelled sweet when crushed underfoot. Every small change trapped precious heat inside. Fashion wasn't about looking good, it was about not dying. Men and women wore layered tunics, thick wool cloaks, and leather boots stuffed with straw. Women added petticoats and head coverings. Children were wrapped like little bundles. Mittens were tied with strings so they wouldn't get lost. Every scrap of fabric from old clothes was reused. In 1315, losing a sock could mean losing toes to frostbite. The endless rain of 1315 ruined crops. Grain stores were low. Villagers rationed every mouthful. Bread was made with whatever could be found, acorns, bark, even ground peas. The village lord opened his granary slightly, but it wasn't enough. Hunger made the cold feel twice as deadly. Weak bodies couldn't fight the freezing temperatures. Thornwood had a clever system. Instead of every family struggling alone, they created shared cooking fires in the center of the village. Women took turns preparing thin stews from roots, dried herbs, and small game. This saved precious firewood. One big fire warmed more people than many small ones. Stories and songs were shared around these fires, keeping spirits alive even as stomachs growled. Men risked their lives hunting. Rabbits, deer, and birds were desperate targets. Traps were set under the snow. Children learned to forage for anything edible. Roships, nuts hidden under leaves, even certain lichens. The village elder taught them which plants could prevent scurvy. Every successful hunt was celebrated like a miracle. Animals were the village's future. Without them, there would be no milk, eggs, or meat later. Villagers built windbreaks from woven branches. They saved the best hay and mixed it with dried leaves. Sick animals received the warmest spots near the hearth. Losing even one cow could destroy a family for years. Darkness fell early. With almost no candles left, families sat in near total darkness, telling stories by the dying firelight. Children heard tales of past hard winters their grandparents survived. Fear of wolves, bandits, and sickness was constant. Yet hope lived in the stories, the belief that spring would eventually come. Colds turned deadly fast in the cold. Wise women used dried herbs like elderberry, yarrow, and mint to fight fevers. They made poultices for frostbite. Hot stones wrapped in cloth were placed in beds to provide gentle warmth. Knowledge passed down through generations became their medicine when no doctor was near. No one survived alone. Neighbors helped each other. If a roof caved in, the whole village came to repair it. Orphans were taken in. The strong carried firewood for the elderly. This tight community bond, forged over centuries, proved stronger than the winter itself. The small stone church was the warmest building because it was better built. People gathered there for prayers and shelter. The priests led prayers for mercy. Religious feasts, though small, reminded everyone they were not forgotten. Faith gave mental strength when bodies were failing. Clever tricks emerged. Villagers burned dried animal dung when wood ran out. It smelled bad but gave steady heat. They used bed warmers, metal pans filled with hot coals slid under blankets. Children were kept active during the day with chores to keep blood flowing. Kids weren't just passengers. Young boys helped clear snow from doorways. Girls learned to spin wool faster for extra clothing. They sang songs while working to lift everyone's mood. Their laughter reminded adults what they were fighting for. By January 1316, the situation turned critical. Several elders died from the cold. Food was nearly gone. The Miller family lost their ox to hunger. Yet the survivors rationed even tighter and shared the last bits of grain. The village refused to break. In late February, a weak sun appeared for a few hours. Snow began to melt slightly in patches. Hunters brought back a small deer. These tiny victories fueled determination. People whispered, "Spring is coming." Thornwood taught future generations, prepare in summer, store food, build strong communities, respect nature's power, reuse everything. These simple rules helped medieval villages survive not just 1315, but many brutal winters that followed. Finally, in March, the ice began cracking on the river. Birds returned. The first green shoots pushed through the mud. The villagers emerged thin, exhausted, but alive. They planted crops immediately. Life would go on. The winter of 1315 had taken much, But not their spirit. Today, with all our modern comforts, the story of Thornwood humbles us. Ordinary people with no electricity or supermarkets used intelligence, cooperation, and courage to defeat deadly cold. Their survival reminds us of human resilience. Next time you feel cold, remember the villagers of 1315. They didn't just survive winter, they outsmarted it. Like and subscribe for more incredible true survival stories from history. What other harsh times should we explore next? Comment below.